It's Friday, April 19th, 2024, and I'm Dave Soap. 3 things to know today. Microsoft offers $1 security updates for schools addressing the Windows 10 e-waste concerns. AltStore Pal launches as the first alternative app store for iPhone in the EU, and rethinking the term user, advocating for more precise language in tech interactions. This is the business of tech. Data migrations are complex and irritating, creating days of frustration from setup to cutover. MoveBot was built from the ground up to fix that. MoveBot is the simplest and fastest data moving tool there is, fully hosted with no infrastructure, no virtual machines, none of that. Sign up, connect, scan, and you'll be moving data in minutes. Techs of all levels can now move terabytes per day with MoveBot. The magic lies in how MoveBot simplifies and auto-scales your migration with modern cloud technology, handling proprietary doc types, file name sanitization, permissions, and cutover, with detailed reporting and alerting at every step. Start moving data like a pro at movebot.io. Microsoft has announced that schools can extend their Windows 10 security updates for as little as $1 per computer, in response to concerns about the increase in e-waste when millions of computers become ineligible for updates. The Extended Security Updates program allows for 3 years of extended support, with education customers paying $1 per computer for the first year. Roughly 40% of PCs in use can't upgrade to Windows 11. In other notable product news, Slack has made its AI paid add-on available to all paid users, offering generative AI features to optimize teamwork. The AI features include a recap feature for daily summaries, an AI-powered search tool, and conversation summaries. Why do we care? This week, we've had 2 notable pushbacks to Microsoft. Given that approximately 40% of PCs currently in use are not capable of upgrading to Windows 11, the importance of this initiative extends beyond educational sectors, hinting at a potential broader application in the future. I suspect this isn't the last we hear of this, and it's an opportunity for customers and partners to push back. This made noise across the tech industry, as the first alternative app store for iPhone is now available in the EU. AltStore Pal is an open-source alternative app store for independent iOS developers that's now available for iPhone users in the EU. It offers 2 apps, Delta, which is a Nintendo emulator, and Clip, a paid clipboard manager, with plans to add more third-party apps in the future. AltStore Pal requires a €150 a year subscription to cover costs and integrates with Patreon for monetization. Outside of Europe, the existing free version of AltStore will continue to be available. iOS 17.5 will allow soon EU users to download apps directly from the web, but they'll be notarized by Apple to do so. Delta was made available broadly in the Apple App Store at the same time. Why do we care? I hadn't generally covered the EU and its battle with Apple over the alternative app stores until something hit the market, and now it has. Traditionally, Apple has maintained strict control over app distribution on its devices, requiring all apps to be downloaded through its official app store. AltStore Pal's emergence is a direct response to evolving regulatory pressures and changing consumer demands for more flexibility and openness in app sourcing. And I'll note that Delta is at the top spot in the rankings this week, showing there's demand for products outside of Apple's guidance. I wouldn't be surprised later to see this turn up in court as evidence. And for EU-focused providers, you should be aware customers now have an alternative option for applications. Let's start our Friday Big Ideas with an article in the FT. The rise of the Chief AI Officer has become a trend in companies worldwide. These officers oversee the deployment of AI and generative AI, improve workforce efficiency, identify new revenue streams, and mitigate ethical and security risks. The role requires a deep understanding of AI technology, data science, and analytics, as well as legal and change management experience. While there's a high demand for AI talent, chief AI officers often come from computer science and business administration backgrounds. The role is sought after across industries, particularly in finance, healthcare, and consumer groups. However, opinions differ on the longevity of the role, with some believing it will adapt with the technology and others thinking it may have a limited shelf life. And I wanted to highlight an opinion piece backed with data in Tech Dirt. No, the internet hasn't gotten worse. A recent study published in Nature challenges the notion that the internet has gotten worse over time. The study found that the internet has always had its share of toxicity, and conversations today are not necessarily more toxic than in the past. The key factor influencing toxicity is the length of the conversation, with longer conversations being more toxic. Different platforms may attract different levels of toxicity. Overall, the internet isn't inherently making people terrible. And I'll offer an analysis by big technology over the changes in search. Yahoo is considering using both AI-generated answers and traditional blue links in response to search queries. Other search engines like Google and Bing are also exploring the use of generative AI in search results. The challenge lies in accurately inferring user intent and determining the cost-effectiveness of displaying generative AI answers. The search engines will need to balance between providing relevant information and maintaining ad revenue. Perhaps we should retire the use of the word user. An article in MIT Technology Review argues this case and traces the history of the term and its association with a transactional relationship between people and technology. The article suggests that using more precise terms, such as customers or players, can foster a more accurate understanding of the relationships between people and technology. One of the key factors, AI, which combined with machines broadly, is a new category of user itself. And this one is more of a resource. Rest of World is tracking the use of AI in global elections. If you're interested in the mind of the manipulators, this is a great one, and the link is in the show notes. Why do we care? So the point of this section is to offer alternative perspectives, which is why I bring in broad thought pieces here. I'm going to linger on user. There's some valuable insight here about the loss of nuance of how people engage with technology, moving away from a transactional one to a more engaged interaction perspective. Plus, isn't it nice to learn that the internet isn't as bad as you thought it was? Looking to reach an audience of thousands of MSPs and IT service providers? Put your ad right here on the Business of Tech and be on the show that 64% of MSPs report having listened to. A recurring top 50 tech news podcast, there are affordable options for you to reach our audience, and we can support any budget. Podcast listeners are more engaged, have a higher level of brand retention, and are more willing to listen to ads here than any other avenues. Want to know more? There's information at mspradio.com/engage, including a button to book a time to talk. I'm looking forward to that discussion. Thanks for listening. Today is National Garlic Day. That's a delicious one, but perhaps you'll keep just a touch of distance. Have a question you want answered? We do take those questions. Send them, ideally as a voice memo or video, to question@mspradio.com. I answer listener questions live each week on our Wednesday live show on YouTube and LinkedIn. This week, 3 p.m. Eastern. And if you got a thought or a comment on a story, put it in the comments if you're on YouTube, or reach out on LinkedIn if you're listening to the podcast. This weekend, quite an interview about cybersecurity. Is it a nuclear event? You'll learn more. Plus, the Wednesday live show for podcast listeners available in the feed on Saturday. Have a great weekend. The Business of Tech is written and produced by me, Dave Sobel, under ethics guidelines posted at businessof.tech. If you like the content, please make sure to hit that like button, follow, or subscribe. It's free and easy and the best way to support the show and help us grow. You can also check out our Patreon, where you can join the Business of Tech community at patreon.com/MSP Radio, or buy our Why Do We Care merch at businessof.tech. Finally, if you're interested in advertising on the show, visit mspradio.com/engage. Once again, thanks for listening to me, and I will talk to you again on our next episode of The Business of Tech.
Part of the MSP Radio Network.